You can't hold me down. 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 You can't hold me.
County Assessor Pages is a great tool to use to find information on property. Most states and counties will have a page. I'm just going to use this one as an example. This actually isn't the one my county uses, so I just wanted to show that some of them are operating with different sites to actually use to get the information, and they're a little different. The reason why I'm using this one is because I think this one also lets you see that there's a lot of counties using it. And you can also show a lot of different states. Like you can see that they're already popped up there on which states use it. And then you're going to go into the state, and then you can have a list of the county. My county doesn't use this site, but I just wanted to make sure that people know that it's here. And Mahaska County is one right close to my county. So that's one of the reasons why I also know about this, because I've looked at property in this county. And here you can go to the property search, or you can view the map. And a lot of people ask me where I get some of those aerial map views of the property lines, and this is where I go to get those. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the property search. Let you guys see how to use it. If you know the person's name or the business name, you can put it in here and it will pop it up and have a list of all the businesses with that name. And you can also just go do an address search, or you can just put anything in. Like I'm going to put 5. So with 5, anything that's listed 5 in the address, it could be a street number, or it can be in the actual address, will pop up. And you can see this is everybody that has 5 listed here in this address. I'm going to go ahead and just choose one. It's going to pop up a lot of information on the property, what it's listed as. Deed holder. It's going to show some pictures. Keep in mind that the pictures normally are outdated. It's going to tell you who owns it, the deed's in. Sometimes if there's a loan, sometimes it'll list it as a loan, like contracting to, or it might be also maybe in a bank's name. This is also a good way to see if it's a foreclosed property, because normally it will be in some type of bank name. Down here you can see how big the buildings are and what year they were built in. So if it had a garage, you can see where it was built and how big it is. Here you can see the different times it actually sold and how it sold and the prices. And these are the sell date, so this isn't always what it's worth. So it can be, it's just what they paid for it. And like quitclaim deed, it just means that someone bought it. And many times the quitclaim deed is just when they put it into an LLC, or it changes groups. They already own it normally, or it's going through a family member. But there's different types of deeds. And then this is the county assessors. So this is the amount that you're actually going to be taxed on. Keep in mind, sometimes this could be much higher, or it can be outdated and not have the correct amount. Most of the time, I've been seeing over the recent years that these numbers are actually getting to be a little bit higher than what the property is actually worth, just because they do the taxes off of this number. So the counties are actually trying to raise these numbers higher than what they are. For example, recently I had bought a property, and it was having a problem getting sold because the county had it assessed at like $187,000. I ended up getting it quite a bit cheaper, and the person before me had tried to get a loan on it, and after he purchased it at the auction, he purchased it for $155,000, and he couldn't obtain financing for it. When I bought it, I had an appraisal done, and the appraisal came back at $143,000. So that could be a good reason why he wasn't able to obtain financing for it. So then they ended up taking another offer, and he ended up backing out of it, and then they finally accepted my offer. So I got lucky on this one, on that deal. On the page I used, the taxation stuff goes to another page that I have to click on, but this one has it right here. The good thing about showing the tax information is this is a great way to find out your projected cost on what they're going to do. The taxes are usually pretty close to being up to date. If there's a major upgrade to the property, then it might change. Like if you first purchase it and do some upgrading, it might get reassessed. Then that would change it. But normally this is usually pretty close to what you're going to be taxes, so you can figure in what your monthly costs are going to be, your yearly cost to when you're considering to purchase a property. It has tax history. And it had the maps of that building and the sizes and where they're relating to the property. Again, on that last page before I came to this one, you'll be seeing that you can go to the map. Now I'm going to go to the county that I actually use. I'm in Jefferson County, and it's going to be a real estate search. Again, you can put the number in, put the business name, the deed holder. If it's in a contract to a buyer, you put that in, or just a house number. I'm going to go ahead and put 5 in here again. Do a random search. Again, it's going to show you who's the deeds in, what class it is. Keep in mind this legal description. If you're doing a deed transferring or something, this may not be the correct one. You want the actual name off the deed. Sometimes this one is actually even shortened, so it's not going to work. And it has some pictures. Keeps on shooting me down to the map down there. It's going to tell you the assessor's value, the lot size. So this will give you, how big your lot actually is, and then you can measure it out from your other things. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. Tells you what it is. Shows you when it's sold and what they have recorded. And here's that overview of the map, and it has a good outline of the property line. So if you're trying to figure out where your property line is, go here. I had a friend several years ago that had a yard. Their fence came like 10 feet into her yard, and the neighbor was telling her that she put the fence up because the neighbor said his yard went way over. And then when he was actually getting ready to move out, there was some sidewalks that actually need done. And then he was telling the county that those were her sidewalks. So we found out that her property line actually went all the way up to his house. And he already had it sold. So it became a big problem at that time, because now we were getting it where she was reclaiming that part of the yard. So sometimes these property lines are huge disputes, and being able to go to this and figuring out where your property line is or where it isn't, this is a good way to actually fix that problem and figure out where your lines are. So if you want to also test this, you'll go from the inside of a sidewalk. And so if your property was, let's say, this next property, you're going to drag it over, and you're going to go from the inside of that sidewalk, and you're going to measure it out to what the feet says. And then you'll come here, or vice versa, or if there's 3 properties in here, like if there's a property line here, you can measure it out from here and plus that. If there's a road, like an alley in here, you're going to also add that minus out of your thing. So you're going to find out how much it is total from here to there, and then you're going to find yours and then subtract that out of it. And then if you're catching on how I'm telling you to do this, but this will definitely help you on figuring out how that is without having to go and spend a lot of money on getting paperwork done, and hopefully you can fix the dispute this way. So far, the county, I'm going to be going in and getting a permit to put up a fence here soon, and they said they actually go off of this, and they were telling me that this line is within a foot. So it could be a little this way or a little this way, but it's within a foot. So they said when you put up a fence, they request you to go a foot inside your property line, and that's to help if there's any disputes, that chances are you're going to be clearly within your property line since you gave up a foot. and they said these lines are very accurate. I've actually went out and measured a couple of the properties, and they're right on within, you know, seriously a foot. So I totally agree with them. So this will give you, I think the assessor's page is a great asset tool to be using when you're looking at property, or if you need any help with property lines or anything else. And again, down at the bottom, I have to go to a different page for taxes. So you can go in here and help with getting cost on if it's going to be worth it. I've looked at a fourplex not too long ago, and they had the fourplex extremely overvalued. It was like $250,000, and in our area, I would say the max was probably is worth 120, and they had several offers at 120. I even put an offer in at 120, and no one was going to. It's been on the market for like 4 or 5 years, and it's mainly because the taxes are so high on that place. And we just had a tax something done that had our taxes go up, and it went up like $300 to $400 every month on that property. So now it's crazy sometimes how much these, because it's commercial property too, so it made it jump a little bit more. So I think they're going to have a hard time selling that property with how much taxes they're paying. And I think one of the big things is they have that property overpriced through the assessors. But this is for the year, and then you can pay it twice. So hopefully this helps, and you guys can use this as a good tool to go and look up properties. Daryl might want to see this.
He's gonna get his ass busted. That's the boy. He's gonna get your ass whooped.